Oh, there it is. It says we're
You see it?
streaming. Okay, well,
Nice.
just in case it just started, welcome to another episode of Get Found.
And be seen.
Woo. And if it has already been starting, then there was a double take for you. Deja vu.
Deja vu. It's all good.
It's all good. It's one of
My
those
man.
variables. One of those many variables involved with everything, layers of complexity, and all that
Right.
good stuff.
Layers. Not necessarily a bad thing.
No, not necessarily. You know,
Nuance.
they just are. They are layers. Some layers are a bad thing.
That's
Some
true.
layers are a good thing.
Right.
You know, like a 7-layer cake.
Right. If it's freezing outside, you got a crazy storm out there and you got layers on. That's a great thing.
All about perspective.
It's all about perspective. That's right, Monty. Adjust my mic real quick. Oh,
Me
there we
too.
go. This people can get a chance to see how we do things behind the scenes. There we go. All right. Back in business.
All righty. Well, some of those layers of complexity are when we are identifying our target audience.
Right.
A target audience has layers. Boy, we could go into all sorts of talk on that now that I mentioned that, the layers of how close they are ready to buy, how aware of their problem, how many objections they have. There could be a lot of layers involved.
Right. Where they're at in their journey. So many layers.
The layers that I was thinking about is what some people call segmentation. And maybe the better hooky title would have been something about don't segmentate your audience, do this instead. So I think about segmentation. Segmentation is like a logical operation. You're thinking about how am I going to group these things, whether they're people in an audience or blocks in a bin. If you're going to organize or group or find patterns, it's a logical thing.
Right.
So yeah. I'm thinking, hey, if I'm going to be trying to send my message to a segment of my audience, I need to be thinking on an emotional level. Because sending a message is an emotional type of thing if you really want it to stick and make an impact.
Right.
Otherwise, it's just data.
True. Yeah. Agreed. Then you got some nuances of, well, you may want to be prepared to give some data because depends on who you're talking to and what their communication style is too.
Well, you could structure things for a person
Right.
who is data orientated. Although I would say that it's a whole different mindset for people who get emotional and giddy about a tech manual. When it's just data. But if you have someone who is data orientated, you still package the data up in a way that is appealing. So someone they may like data. I like data. Don't give me data in a spreadsheet. Give me data in a mind map.
Right.
So there's that target audience idea.
Mm-hmm.
But those layers getting down to the segmentation and the logic part of segmentating, if you would like a different approach, a more emotionally charged approach, that's where the ideal client, the target avatar, comes in, where you can speak to a person and they represent a segment.
Right.
But you're not looking at it from the segment and then trying to talk to a person. You're just talking to a person. You've cut out that layer.
Right.
Then you can look at it afterwards and say, well, now I've got the message, I've got who I'm sending to, who do they represent? I could say, if I got to go into my email and put a tag in, and people that click on this, that's how I'm going to segmentate. That's why I really think it's the logic thing, because that's one of the biggest areas that people that are thinking about target audiences and segmenting is in their email responder program.
Right.
And your structure, if they do this, then that, if that, do that, it's programming.
Right.
It's logic. It's all logic. Now I get a little emotional, a little excited because it's programming and I like programming.
Right.
But the programming itself is logic based. Whereas an ideal client is emotion based. Because you're trying to think about and identify what they're thinking about, which might not be logical.
Yeah. Yeah, there's layers to that, man. Yeah. I could tell that gets you excited though.
Yeah. On several layers. Yeah, there's the fact of I'm cutting out a layer of complexity. I don't need to worry about segmentating an audience yet.
At that point, yeah.
Yeah, I don't have to worry about all those if thens and tags and which groups and if they've I gotta remember to take them out of a group, because if they join this group and they've already
that ends up being a lot for me.
Yeah. Let me go with the other direction. Just say, well, let me talk to this person.
Right.
Who is this person? Let me send a message to them. This is what we're going to be talking about. It's like,
Right.
okay, well, now since I know the message I'm going to be sending, I already know the thing that needs the tag that says they clicked on it.
Yeah.
Rather than going the other way around and saying, okay, now what's that message going to be to get them to click, to get the tag, to get them into the right sequence?
Right.
It's the other way around. It's like, hey, what am I going to tell them? And then based on how they respond, what's the next logical step?
Right.
There's the logic.
There's a logic. And I think it seems like, because for me, that part gets over my head a little bit, to be honest, but it seems like that would set you up to get more accurate data because you spoke to a real person. I mean, some people will speak to the real person, but some people will go ahead and go for it to say, okay, if that, then this, if that, then this. And it's a continual, and I can see how that would make sense, but it seems like the way you said it you'd get more actual data because you spoke to that real person or that person that represented that group.
Yeah, the actual data and viewpoint. Again, it's like they're representing a group of people.
Right.
But it's not all inclusive, and it's not a concrete thing. Yeah. So moving on, it's like, well, you don't segment your audience with one segmentation. There's more than one segmentation, multiple segmentations, and then segmentations can be segmented, and then some segments may overlap. And then, again, we start getting into the layers of complexity that start making the brain fog happen.
Right.
So by cutting through that and saying, well, that will develop. You don't actually have to map that out ahead of time. And that's a mistake I make with how I operate, is sometimes I try to map too far.
Yeah.
It's like, but there's variables and layers of complexity that are going to come up, and I'll have to alter my course. So if I map too far, I'm just wasting time.
Right. I love what you said too. You said data and viewpoint. That's huge. Because you get, when I think about that, I think about, okay, you get, when it even comes to getting the data from that ideal client, their perspective, their viewpoint, the psychology. And that could be something that's easy to miss, but like, whoa, I guess I didn't think about it like that. You can get their perspective and viewpoint as opposed to just looking at it just as data even from that one person. That's a big deal.
And I'm glad you brought me back to that, because the idea there is that I was going for is that that one ideal client represents a particular segment, and therefore you can create another ideal client that is a variation of that first ideal client because of their viewpoint. The data might be the same, but the viewpoint might be different.
Wow.
And now they represent a different segment, which
Yeah.
will overlap with that first segment, but it
Yeah.
will also include some different people. It will also identify a way to communicate with that portion of the segment, even though it
Mhm.
overlaps,
Right.
a way to communicate with them more impactfully,
Right.
because you've nailed down that emotional trigger, that
Right.
emotional
Right.
importance.
Right.
See, now
Right.
I really like that. I'm not sure where I heard that from. I wish I could give credit where credit is due, but
Yeah.
emotional importance instead of emotional triggers. So if you want
Mm.
to move your mindset from salesy to more I'm helping,
Right.
then that there's a great word to switch over from. I'm not trying to trigger people. I'm activating their emotional intelligence.
Ooh. Woo-hoo! Got to camp on that real quick, Monty. That is an aha nugget right there. I'm trying to activate their emotional intelligence. Wow, that's going deeper. That's going deeper, which that excites me because that's what I like with this journey. That's what I love doing when I'm with working with clients and making that connection. Just really being able to activate their emotional intelligence and help have them think about where they're at and me be able to assist them along their journey. That makes it more personable. When I think about the ideal client, that's a bomb right there.
Yeah. So you're going from
A
the
bomb.
knee-jerk reaction to the aha reaction.
Mm-hmm. It's what I'm that really sparked something in me because I've been experiencing that a lot online because I have been able to look at things online this past weekend. What people have their different their campaigns and stuff going on, and sometimes some of it's the normal. Okay, just give that knee jerk reaction, and then everyone jumps on the bandwagon, and then it flies for a while, and then the next new thing comes on, and you know what I mean. And what you explain that reminds me of transformation, and that's what I'm looking for when I'm looking to serve people. You know what I mean? It's not always the most attractive thing though, but it lasts longer, in my opinion. I hope that doesn't go off the topic of where you wanted to
No,
go.
I mean,
But that's a
actually,
big
what
deal.
what I'm thinking about there is that it's target audiences. There are people that thrive in that type of environment. Well, let me do this thing. This is exciting. Okay. Wow, let me do this thing. It's exciting. Wow, look at that one. You know,
Yeah.
and they just like to do that.
Yeah.
Where other people are, it's like the big excitement part of it is kind of nice, but it's the result, it's the journey, it's the rest of it, the substance.
Right. The substance, the
Now,
transformation. Yeah.
we love a party. Carl loves a party, but if
Hmm.
it's just a party in your business,
Right.
then you're unbalanced.
Right.
And
Right.
that's what when you're describing that, where it takes off and then it's not as meaningful.
Hmm.
It's kind of like that impromptu party. Everybody's having a good time, but there's no real point. So it just dwindles out and everybody goes home. It was fun.
Right. Right. Right.
And nothing wrong with a good party. But when it's a business, I mean, unless everybody paid to get in, then
Hmm.
that's another story. But
Right. Hey, if it's a party that could bring transformation too. Hey, keep coming back. Let the party be continual. That's what I like. Yeah, that's great, Monty, though. Yeah.
So let's see. Winding back around, though, identifying the ideal client and then their viewpoint allows you to segment your audience emotionally first and then apply the logic afterwards with the data that you've gathered. I think I just summed up.
Yeah. 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 And you're on to something with this, Monty. I gotta say that though. You're on to something. This is definitely delving deeper than the average stuff that we get. You know what I mean? And we get experience online a lot of times. Yeah. You gotta do a blog or something about this.
The more I talk about it, each person I talk to, I talk to somebody about other topics and the target audience and ideal client thing. I tie it in. It make it's like I was talking with who was I talking to? Not that it matters who I was talking to, but your brain locks onto stuff. Sue Emily.
Yeah.
And I was talking about, now that I spent all that brain power remembering who the person was. Oh, that is so classic. Oh well. On to the next thing.
It's a Monty Monday. That's
It's
right.
a Monty Monday. It's a great Monday.
That's right.
I was going somewhere profound with that too. That was fun.
But yeah, this definitely needs a continuation. This.
Oh, continuation. Talking with Sue Emily. The whole point was, you think about it, it's the ideal client. You're thinking about sales, customers, that sort of thing. But really, you boil it down, and the idea is simply about communication. Your ideal client, your target audience. Now, let's say you are applying for a job. You send in your resume and you have a target audience. The target audience is the HR person or the hiring person or whoever is going to be looking at the resume. In this day and age, a lot of times that's a computer, but that's interesting to think about. It's like, okay, well, I'm sending in a resume. Who's my target? Okay, it's going to be a computer. I need to make sure that my resume says these certain things so the computer says, ding, 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 give it to a human. So it's just about communication, knowing who's receiving my message. Oh, it's a dumb computer. I just needed to check the boxes onto the human. But now I need to have more stuff in there for the human. Well, who is the human? Maybe your target audience is the faculty because you're the principal. And you're not trying to sell them. You're trying to inspire them and motivate them.
Yeah.
With your presence.
That's right.
But there's that knowing your audience, knowing, and we'll tie that together, knowing your audience, knowing, should I be wearing a suit or jeans and a t-shirt or somewhere in between? Who are these people? How are they expecting this message? What would they be open to receive?
Right.
You walk in a suit and tie and you got a whole bunch of people in their jammies.
Well,
might have a communication hiccup.
Might have some barriers.
Possibly not. Maybe your presence is so good. It's like, well, these are
so
my
dynamic.
Did you hear that?
Oh, was that?
I said, well, these are my jammies.
These are my On my jammies. Maybe have jammy shorts on.
There you go. Be prepared.
Be prepared.
Well, anyway, back around target audience, ideal client, segmentation, segmenting's logic. Defining an ideal client or an avatar is emotional, and that's how you can tie them together and inspire emotional intelligence.
Yeah, and I love how you said activate.
Activate, that's the
Ooh,
word I wanted.
inspire. I mean, inspire is good. So you said activate though.
Yeah,
That was
no, it was
powerful.
activate because it's trigger or activate.
It's activated.
Wonder
Activated,
Twin
yeah.
Powers.
That's next level right there, man. Oh, you said Wonder Twin Powers?
Wonder Twin Powers. Activate.
Activate. That's
Old
right.
school
Right.
now.
It's old school. They don't know about that. Old school, they do. That's good, Monty. Yeah.
Well, we'll leave the thought on that. Let people chew on that a little bit, and I'm sure that we'll tie together again on that topic next time, or the time after, or sometime in between, or
time after time. That's what Cindy Lauper would say. Sorry.
Well, thank you for joining in. I appreciate all of the views and engagement and thought, the emotional intelligence involved. If you've made it this far, it's layers of complexity.
That's right. Not a bad thing. There's nothing wrong with that.
Well, nothing wrong with layers. Layers of complexity, that's probably on the negative side. We want layers of cake, layers of icing, layers of intrigue.
Intrigue. I couldn't help it, Monty. I'm a complicated person.
All right. Well, I'm going to see if I can get this stream to end, hopefully, because we've had troubles with that before in the past. So thanks again for joining. We'll see you next week on another episode of Get Found
and Be Seen.